Alright, hello guys, Jack here from Peach Guitars, and today I want to do a little bit more of a continuation, in fact a roundup of our feature that we started a few months ago now, where we decided to take a closer look at some of the fantastic models from Suhr guitars. And before I get too deeply into this video today, I just want to remind you guys, if you haven't already, to please subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the link down below. And if you've enjoyed this video, when you finish watching it, please leave us a like and comment down there with your thoughts as well. Okay, so we're going to round up the Closer Look At series by taking a look at the Pete Thorn Signature from Suhr guitars. And what I want to do in this video is basically just explain not only some of the specs and the genetic makeup of this instrument, but also where I think it actually has its place in the Suhr lineup, and why I personally think it's one of my very favourite guitars that Suhr make. I think it's become very iconic for the brand, I think it's become very important, and it really represents a lot of the ideals that not only Pete Thorn has himself as a player, but also that John Suhr has as a guitar designer and builder. So before I get too deeply into the specs of this guitar, I want to talk about where this kind of sits in their lineup. So obviously Pete Thorn has become a bit of a guitar sensation over the past 10 or so years. He's very well known for his YouTube output, as well as being a very prolific sideman and session player. So being a player of that kind of caliber obviously has a lot of requirements on the gear that you choose to use, and he's had a great working relationship with Suhr for the past decade or so, starting out with his signature PT series amplifier, which is still going very strong to this day, and now obviously you've got the PT100 and the PT15 model of those amplifiers. So naturally the time came that he decided to turn his attention to a signature model guitar, and I think that was obviously a massive kind of open-ended question as to what specs would you like for your signature guitar, because a player like Pete really has a lot of demands to put on an instrument, and it's very, very difficult to distill all those different requirements and basically bottle it up and sell it in one guitar. Nevertheless, that's what they tried to do, and that's where the Pete Thorn Signature came from. So really what this is a manifestation of all Pete's knowledge, all of his guitar collection and the stuff that he's played over the years. I think he's poured all of that knowledge and information into designing this signature model. Now, Pete, being a YouTube sensation, has obviously talked endlessly about his signature guitar and kind of his thought processes when it came to designing it, what he wanted to put into it. So I'm not going to try and put words in his mouth. He's obviously said a lot about this guitar. But what I think it boils down to, the essence of this model, is just combining elements not only of Suhr-style guitars, so classic Fender-style guitars with, obviously there's a lot of sensibilities of an S-style in this guitar, but also you can tell just aesthetically and also I think tonally that there's also another significant American guitar design brand has definitely made its way into some of the design concepts for this guitar too. And I think that's really what Pete wanted to kind of put across, is that this is kind of the perfect marriage of those two different guitar designing sensibilities. But what's interesting is that he decided to go with the Suhr platform of the bolt-on design, which normally, you know, this kind of genetic wood combination of a mahogany body, mahogany neck would lend itself more to a set neck design, but you've got the bolt-on design here. So it's a really unique marriage. As I said, I'm going to come onto the specs in a little bit. But I do think that the way this guitar is constructed really plays a part in kind of giving it its very signature, very unique tone. And I don't think that there's another Suhr model in the lineup that actually sounds like this. So in that mission statement of getting all the tones you could possibly need out of one instrument, basically what Pete decided to do was land on the Suhr standard body style, which is a little bit more conventional looking than like a modern, for example. And obviously Pete has been known to play a lot of their classic style instruments as well. But the standard has the slightly flatter top, and that aesthetic really lends itself to kind of bringing in some elements of other guitar brand designs, as I said. So obviously the gold top and the blacked out glossy headstock definitely refer to like a gold top Les Paul, I would say. They really nailed the colour, they really nailed the vibe and the aesthetic of bringing in some of those sensibilities. Now tonally, you've got the two humbucking pickups, which are of course Thornbuckers. So this is a standard Thornbucker in the neck and a Thornbucker Plus in the bridge. And I think Pete actually designed these pickups initially to go in S-style guitars to kind of recreate the PAF tonality that you would find in a Gibson-style guitar. So these pickups are actually voiced for this style of guitar, but they do also work very well in set neck instruments. But I think they're naturally at home in a bolt-on guitar design like this. So they sound fantastic. And then that's coupled up with the electronic wizardry that allows you to get all kind of split coil sounds and stuff like that, which I'll come on to in a little bit. Now, the genetic makeup of this guitar, as I've talked about quite a bit, is a little bit off the wall for Suhr. Normally you'd see like an alder wood body or maybe an ash body with a maple neck, but they've actually gone for a totally different design here of a chambered mahogany body with a plain maple top on this guitar, and you've got a mahogany neck as well with a rosewood fingerboard. So it's a little bit of a different wood combination than you typically see from a Suhr guitar, and that definitely lends it some very unique tonal qualities. Neck profile wise, you've got the even C slim profile on this guitar, which I think is something that Suhr are really pioneering. It's a very comfortable neck shape. It's not too slim as the name might suggest. It's actually very comfortable in hand. It's quite flat, and it's coupled with a compound 10 to 14 inch radius on this guitar, and then the fingerboard is topped off with medium jumbo stainless steel frets as well. So they're really great frets. They don't wear out, and they do add a little bit of brightness to the tone that I think is something that Pete really likes. On the subject of brightness in guitars, I think this is one of the reasons that I personally admire Pete's tones so much, and the kind of attributes that he brings to the table as a guitar player. And I think a lot of people are aware of this. Modern guitar playing, I would say, has become a little bit too fearful of treble frequencies. And Pete Thorn's signature guitar definitely distills kind of the essence of old school guitar design, where when you play an old vintage guitar, one of the first things that will strike you usually is just how bright and alive and zingy that guitar could sound. And that is definitely something that wanted to be put into this model. And when you listen to Pete's playing, you often find that he goes for a brighter guitar sound. And I really admire that in his playing, that he's not afraid of treble frequencies. And the clips you're going to hear that I play of this guitar in the video today, I purposefully wanted to get a little bit of a brighter, clearer sound to really show off how zingy this guitar can sound and just how clear it is at kind of propelling every note out of the instrument. Okay, so before I talk any more about the guitar, let me show you some of the tones. In the beginning there, I showed you a little bit of the clean tones going through the different pickup selections, and then a little bit of the driven tone as well. So just for context, I'm playing a very Pete Thorn inspired rig today. I've got a Suhr Badger 30 amplifier that's set very clean, and on the floor I've got a Friedman Dirty Shirley overdrive pedal, which is where all the gain's coming from, and I am getting a bit of reverb and delay courtesy of a Line 6 HX effects as well. So let me start with some more clean tones. I'm going to run you through each of the 5 pickup positions and also talk about the push-pull pot that you've got here, which puts the bridge pickup into parallel mode. So it takes it from series into parallel mode. I'm going to play you each of the tones, and then I'm going to talk about kind of the benefits of having this particular wiring layout on this guitar. Right, so as you heard there's 5 different selections on this blade switch, and you also have that push-pull pot that I talked about. Now, interestingly, this wiring configuration is very similar to guitars like the Alt-T that Suhr make, but in this position, position 1, they basically flipped it around so that by default you get the sound of the split neck humbucker. I think it might actually be in parallel as opposed to a split coil, because you don't get any of that hum that you would get with a split coil sound. And this is something that Pete's really keen on pushing with the series parallel switch on the bridge as well, is that you can get those kind of split coil sounds, but because the pickups are actually running in parallel and not in split coil mode, basically it means that they're still humbucking, so you can use that kind of tone but in many more situations because you don't have the hum from the single coil mode. So yeah, you start with a split coil sound there. Position 2 is the neck humbucker by itself. Position 3 is the 2 humbuckers working in series. Position 2 or 4, depending on how you look at it, is the split coil sounds of each of the humbuckers. And you do get a little bit of a volume drop there, but with a bit of gain and compression, it's really nice to have that different dynamic shift in the guitar. And the tone is obviously quite drastically different as well. It's nice to have a 5-position switch where all the tones actually sound different. Then lastly, you've got your bridge humbucker, and as I said, you can split it or put it into parallel using the push-pull knob there. So you've got a combination there of 7 different sounds, in fact, because when you're in the middle position, you can still have the bridge pickup in parallel, so you can kind of get that almost Telecaster with a neck humbucker kind of a sound, I think, which is really cool. So a bunch of different sounds there, and they're all usable, which is really important. And it's interesting that Pete opted to have the split coil sound as soon as you go all the way up there to the what would be the neck position. I think it's so that you can very quickly jump between a very nice dynamic, sparkly neck pickup clean sound and go straight to your bridge pickup, which is going to be full bore. So let me demonstrate that. I'm going to play the clean tone on the split neck sound one more time, and then I'm going to go straight to the gain sound with the bridge pickup in full series mode. So you can just hear how dynamic this guitar can be just with a couple of button presses. So here we go. Okay, so what you'll have heard in that clip there, as I said before, is not only just how dynamic this guitar can be, because I had the full gain sound, went from the bridge pickup straight to that split neck sound and was able to turn down the volume and get a really nice kind of sparkly cleaner tone, but also you'll hear just how zingy it can be, and I use that as kind of a buzzword at the start of the video. But I really don't know of another guitar, certainly not from Suhr, I think, that does this quite as well, which is that it's just so alive sounding, and I really like that in an instrument, and I think it's really important that that is an attribute that is recognised in this guitar. And I'm just going to demonstrate it one more time, again with the gain sound on the bridge pickup, and I'm not even going to use the parallel setting. It'll be in full series, and you'll hear just how bright and kind of clear this guitar sounds, so I can really get some spangy kind of chords, and single notes really pop out as well. Yeah, so I really love this quality in this guitar. I think it's really quite unique, as I said. And I think it's really something that really kind of makes this sound just a little bit different to whatever you might hear out of a Suhr guitar that you may have played or heard before. I think it really sounds quite different. Okay, so the big upgrade I want to talk about for 2019, in fact, that actually Pete decided to add to his guitar then, and is now coming through to the models that we're seeing in 2020, is the addition of this Wilkinson locking tremolo bridge unit. So previously the guitar came with, as all pretty much all Suhr guitars come with, the Goto 510 bridge unit. And it's actually very similar in design, but the idea behind this bridge and the inspiration, I think, for Pete in kind of the constant chase of always trying to improve not only the tone, but also the functionality of whatever guitar he's using, is to marry up the kind of tonality of a classic non-locking style bridge, but with kind of the added flexibility and tuning stability of a locking bridge. So rather than using a Floyd Rose system, this is actually basically almost a direct 510 drop-in replacement. I don't think you can use it that way. But basically the idea is that you still have the tone of a 510 bridge, but these very clever little set screws on each of the saddles on the bridge here lock down on the string and basically massively improve your tuning stability. But you still get to use it in the same kind of conventional non-locking bridge way. You can still string through the back of the bridge as you normally would, and you also have the benefit of Suhr's locking tunings as well. So this is a fantastic improvement for the guitar. Really does help the tuning stability, and I do think it actually affects the tone slightly as well. If you like that kind of Floyd Rose tonality, it adds a little bit more of that direct kind of cutting quality, but it's still very much a classic bridge through and through in terms of the general tone and the feel. Okay, so the last thing I want to say is just about the general tone of this instrument. I've talked a lot about how bright and clear this is, and I do think that that's really important, but generally, Suhr guitars are always very versatile anyway. You get great clean tones, you get great driven tones. Using Suhr's Thornbucker pickups in this guitar, though, I think is kind of the perfect marriage, at least for my playing style, and I think obviously for Pete's playing style as well. It would have been very easy to overcook the formula for these pickups and the electronics and really just make this guitar a little bit unusable in a wide array of situations. But hopefully you'll have heard in this video, and I'll attempt to demonstrate on my way out of this video with a sound clip, just how versatile this is, not only for the driven tones, but for the really nice, sweet, clean tones as well. You've really got the perfect blend of some of those split coil Fendery sounds, as well as the full bore humbucking tones, all out of one instrument, with a tremolo, with a great kind of classic Gibson aesthetic, with Suhr modern features like the locking tuners, the compound radius, the bigger stainless steel frets. It's kind of the perfect marriage of all things modern and vintage, and that's exactly what Pete Thorn's playing represents. So hopefully you're going to see this guitar for a long time in the future, not only in his hands, but I do think also, to this guitar's credit, this is one of the best signature models out there because it's a little bit stealthy. If you didn't know what this was, there's no obvious Pete Thorn branding or anything like that. You could rock this at any gig. People will just think that this is a really classy Suhr custom instrument, which of course this absolutely is. Alright guys, so that's pretty much covered all the specs and things I wanted to talk about with this Pete Thorn Signature model. All I want to say is massive credit to Pete himself, as well as John Suhr and all the team that designed these guitars. I think they made one hell of an instrument here. If you want to try one out for yourself, please come down to the store. This is one of the only chances you'll get to properly check out all three of the colour options that you've got, especially here in the UK. So obviously I've been playing the vintage gold. You've also got the really cool stealthy black, as well as the ocean turquoise metallic. I do believe there's a candy red metallic colour on the way as well, which we should be seeing very soon. But for the time being, I think these are three of the coolest looking signature guitars you can get. And all I can say is get on peachguitars.com as quickly as you possibly can after seeing this video. Hopefully they'll all still be here, and hopefully you'll be able to get the one that you want for yourself. So thank you so much, as always, for watching this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, as I said before, please leave us a like and comment down below with your thoughts. Let me know as well which of the three signature colours was your favourite. I personally love the gold, but I think they're all really kind of interchangeably cool, so let me know which is your favourite. If you want any more info on these guitars, or indeed any of the other Suhr products that we stock here at Peach, you can find out all the information at peachguitars.com. So click the link down in the YouTube description box below. So as always, stay tuned. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers.